Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat, a show trying to make the world safe for ADHDers. I am a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist, and I'm also the parent of an ADHD child. And I started out as a parent of an ADHD child back before ADHD was even a diagnosis, which honestly wasn't that long ago. But it probably shows you how little we knew about ADHD. Matter of fact, back in those days, a child presenting with ADHD symptoms, the diagnosis was hyperactive reaction to childhood, which tells you how little we knew. I mean, first of all, not all ADHD is hyperactive. Second of all, saying it's a reaction to childhood suggests that you're going to outgrow it, which we know you don't do, or at least we should know that by now. Okay, and there's fortunately in the interim since my child first made his appearance, the world of research has really caught up with ADHD, which is still a crummy name. I think everybody agrees that it's a bad name and doesn't really quite cover everything because it's more than just an attention problem, right? There are a lot of components to it. In the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which is a diagnostic code book, there are, I believe it's 18 symptoms of ADHD, and you need 6 of each to get the diagnosis. And even that probably isn't the best way to diagnose. It's probably not the most effective, efficient, or you probably miss a lot that way. And in spite of that, we have a really high incidence of ADHD, particularly in the United States. And there are some places where ADHDers tend to concentrate as adults. They concentrate as entrepreneurs. I am looking at doing a lot of what do they call it? Knowledge commerce, which basically means taking all the stuff I've been doing for about 40 years and teaching it without the interference of insurance companies. And that's going to be fascinating, and I'm interested in how it's going to turn out. But as a result of that, I go to a lot of these conferences on how to do it, how to, get on the internet and how to market and all those other things that I didn't learn in grad school. Fascinating thing is that like 70%, and some people say as much as 80% of all entrepreneurs have ADHD. So I predictably draw a crowd at a conference once they find out what I do, because everybody's curious, and a lot of people have not been diagnosed, and that is a tragedy. Okay, at this stage of the game, there is no reason not to get treatment. I mean, the two biggest, one biggest objection, I guess, is that, God, you're going to give them amphetamines. They're just going to get addicted to that stuff. Okay. What we know is that people with ADHD who are using their Ritalin or whatever appropriately as prescribed don't tend to get addicted. Matter of fact, and this is the big ha-ha, people whose ADHD has been treated, psychotherapy, medication, working with the school systems, working with tutors, all maybe coaches, all of that are less likely to develop a problem with addictions, a problem with alcohol or drugs. it's not that, um, it's not that big a problem with that group of people. Okay. Matter of fact, most of the people who haven't been treated are the ones that develop addiction problems. They tend to, uh, well, it's probably a form of self medication. Because I don't know how many people I have had come in and say, "Man, doc, the only time I feel like my insides aren't trying to get to the outside is when I'm high." You know, they're talking about marijuana, and I've heard that a lot about marijuana, particularly. That's the only time I feel relaxed. That's the only time I feel calm. That's the only, all that stuff. And they're not really calm. They're stoned, and there's a difference. But I'm not going to get into a whole big battle about that. The other one I am probably most concerned about is the socially appropriate one, which is alcohol. And that's one we see, again, it's mostly people who aren't treated. And it's a hard one to treat. I mean, the first thing you got to do is you got to get them so they're sober, and you need about 6 weeks for that, and then you can start uh, treating for ADHD. And there's always a lot of, oh my God, wait a minute, I got this addict, and I'm gonna give him an addictive substance. Okay, illogical maybe, but it works. Okay, and that's mostly what we care about. There's more hoop-de-doo about substance abuse than there is true fact, and we've done some really horrible things. Really, I mean, just stuff that doesn't make sense, that it's not scientifically justified. Um, that say marijuana is placed in the same medication group as, well, not medication, but drug group as heroin. I mean, that's absurd. And the deal you've got with ADHDers, if you have ADHD kids or you have a lot of ADHD in your family, get them checked out. Get your kids checked out. Get your kids evaluated formally. Make sure you know what you're dealing with. And then you need to, when they're old enough, I mean, they're in their teenage years, a little bit before, say 14 or so. And you need to just let them know, hey, you got to be real careful about drinking. Some people get a free pass on that stuff. You wouldn't. Your genotype, or however you want to phrase it, you remember your grandfather, he was an alcoholic. You remember your great grandfather, or, on your mother's side of the family, there's a lot of alcoholics. So you have to be careful. I mean, you really can, like whistle through the graveyard and pretend it's not an issue, but you really need to look at it square on. And you need to be able to recognize that when they come in, oh, I was over at Billy's studying, or Betty's, or whoever. Well, you can give them a good hug and take a deep sniff, and your nose can tell you a whole bunch of things. You just need to get that out of the way, and they're going to try to lie to you, and you're going to try to figure it out. I mean, good Lord, if you have the relationship where they never lie to you, God bless you, sir or madam, you must be doing something right. But with teenagers, increasingly, actually, that doesn't happen a lot. But you cannot just assume that they're not going to try some of this stuff. And if they are ADHDers, they're a lot more prone to end up getting addicted to it. And then getting off of it, I used to work in substance abuse, and it is not a happy place to work. I mean, because mostly what you're doing is just telling people, don't do that. Don't set yourself up. Don't do that. If you want to quit drinking, don't go to places where people drink. Don't hang out with people who drink. I mean, and you would think that's pretty logical, but nope, they still do it. And but you've got to at least set that many ground rules. But it depends on what stage of the game your ADHDer is. And I wouldn't. You want to balance. It's not a free pass, but you don't want to be overreacting and yelling at them for 3 days, that kind of stuff. You want to just, let them know you're disappointed. Let them know you don't expect this to be a regular thing. And your buddies that got you into this aren't your friends. Okay? They are not your best friends. And that sometimes is the hardest part, because a lot of times ADHDers don't fit in very well. And so anybody who will accept them, they'll go with. But you can't let just base admittance to the group be the thing that determines who they hang out with. Okay, so, and they've got to be discriminating, and it's important for you to teach them to be discriminating about the people they are with. Because I don't know how many times I've heard in my life, you're judged by the company you keep. Yep, you are. We are. We all are. So you've got to teach them to make discrimination and discriminating choices. And this is not this is never a happy topic. Most parents who find out their kids have been abusing some kind of drug, feel betrayed usually. I taught him better than this, or I taught her better than this, and I da. But it's another of life's challenges, and you have to accept it. Start treatment right away. No excuses. And they don't get a free pass. There have to be some consequences. But a light touch is better. And you want them to be more focused on treatment than on getting punished. Okay, well, that's a hard topic, and I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't have somebody in their family tree, an uncle, a grandparent, somebody who had a problem, a substance problem. But you're not totally your genetics. Okay, there are differences for sure. I mean, when I was working in alcohol treatment, you would see some people who'd been drinking for 20 years abusively and swore to God they never had a hangover. And then you get people like me who've had 3 beers one night and were throwing up all night. Weak stomach, never been very good at it. Anyway, doesn't mean I didn't try, but I wasn't very good at it. So there are some genetic differences. And as a matter of fact, sometimes that's one of the keys in people who have a lot of alcoholism in their family. I have never had a hangover. I've never been sick. I was always able to drink everybody else under the table without feeling it for a long time. Yeah, you probably got a problem. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I may do some more on this in the future. Um, and if you've got any questions about anything, please, um, I don't know, but somewhere around here, there's a place to make some comments, and would appreciate anything. And I would definitely try to answer. Okay, I'm Terry James Gingras. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm the father of an ADHD child, and this has been Dr. G's ADHD Chat, a show trying to make the world safe for ADHDers. Because one of the things we need ADHD for is that they're outside the box thinkers. You know, they think differently than a neurotypical does. Neurotypicals are good at keeping the system the way it is. Outside the box thinkers are the ones who make the changes. Probably that where it should be logical, but they're the ones who see it and do it. So we need them. So try to nurture them and help them grow resilient and strong. Okay, and I will catch you next week. Yeah, I should be. I'm going to a conference, and I will be back. Conference, one of those conferences with a lot of ADHD people, and I'll be back, I think, in time to do this show. Okay, and we'll probably have some announcements because I've got some big stuff coming. Okay,